All right, so this is a data set I've been using for the past couple webinars. This is the whole segmentation UI. One of the nice things about the segmentation UI is that you're able to see all of the data points you have across all of your systems. So what I'm going to be doing is starting with a pretty typical case where we have unstandardized titles. So say, for example, I want to find everybody with a HubSpot job title and I want to see what those values are. So that's pretty good. I've got a bunch of titles in HubSpot. Let's find job titles that I might have in Outreach. So HubSpot, if you're using it as your CRM, perhaps there's an SDR typing in the title. Outreach, maybe you're uploading lists. Got a couple more. And then let's look at titles I'm getting off Livestorm, probably submitted by the people themselves. All right. So here I can see titles across all of my systems. I can even see where there are gaps in my system as well. So maybe these people had never submitted a Livestorm form before. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say not where they have all of them, but where they have any one of them, and I actually be able to see more gaps as well. So here are all the people where I have titles across all of my systems. So say, for example, I want to start with standardizing the CEO value for a particular title. So what Hull does for you, that's pretty nice. Oh, actually, let me have to set this. What Hull does for you, that's pretty nice, is actually shows you all of the possible values based off of the data that you have for that particular attribute. So certainly we're going to select CEO. Chief Executive Officer, President and CEO, maybe not Captain, CEO lowercase. Okay, now we have a pretty good list, but we also have to segment based off of the outreach title as well and find ones that have just the CEO values. Chief in charge, let's see anything else. Oh, yeah, President, Chief Executive. The autofill makes it pretty nice to find this stuff pretty quickly. And then Livestorm, Chief Exec, buck stops here. I've seen all kinds of things submitted for titles over the years, especially when people are trying to be funny. All right. So now we've got a pretty good list of people who are the CEO. So one way to potentially start to standardize these is to set these fields one by one across all of the systems. One of the patterns we like to use at Hull is to separate the raw data from the standardized or unified data. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually create a new attribute called standardized string. We're good. So I've already preloaded this new attribute. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these people. I'm going to say edit. I'm going to select standardized title. And I'm going to use my standardized value. Great. And then now I can go and see standardized title is CEO across the board. So that's great. We've got standardized data in Hull. That's what Hull is for. So now the next step is to actually fan this out into your different services so that you can enable your marketers and your salespeople to use this new standardized good data. So I'm going to take you over to our connector, for example, to HubSpot. And most of these CRM and marketing automation connectors look pretty similar. You're essentially choosing a certain attribute to sync and what value to sync it to. So in my case, I've created a new standardized title field. I want to sync it to the title field. Pretty straightforward. Save. Okay. And I'll go back. And now I want to backfill all of these people to make sure that they specifically have the CEO title. So I've got them selected. I can actually say user actions, send to HubSpot. Click send. And now all of those users will be recomputed and sent to HubSpot. And then I do the same for all of my other systems that I want to sync standardized title to. Nice thing about that is that I only have to do this once, and then in the future, it will be syncing that attribute no matter what. So now that I have all of these attributes mapped, I can go through and do the other titles as well, and they will automatically be synced to that field. So I think one thing that I'll mention quickly is that I showed you how to send these users to the connectors, but ideally, what you might want to do is you might want anybody who has a standardized title automatically synced. So what I can do is I can create a segment where the standardized title exists, and then in my Salesforce and HubSpot connectors, I can set that segment. And now anytime a user enters this segment, basically anytime a user has a standardized title, we know to sync them out to HubSpot or Salesforce. It's a way of saying only sync the good data to my systems once I've standardized it. And actually using that pattern where a person enters into a segment, especially ones that are more complicated, is something that a lot of people really like to use Hull for, where you can drive really personalized outreach based off of the things people do and the attributes that they have.